So hi everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is V. For today's video, I am doing a video that I've been waiting to do for so long, which is going ahead and reading all of the books that Michelle Obama has ever recommended publicly. I mean, we don't know what's on her personal bookshelf, girl, but I'm going to tell you something. I wish I knew. I'm so excited to read them and share with you guys my thoughts, what they're like, why she loves them, and see if we will love them too. I hope you guys love this because I'm starting this new series on my channel of reading the people that inspire me's favorite books. So I mean, we could do Oprah, we could do Beyonce, like we can do so many different people. So just comment below whose books you want me to read next. And of course, while you're here, make sure you check out my friend Jack Edwards. He is killing it in the world of reading books recommended by some of his favorite people, and he's completely inspired me and like made me revive my love for doing book videos. So here we are and here we go. Guys, just finished this book. I read front to back in about 2 days, and this book was phenomenal, and let me tell you why. It's actually by this woman called Tara Westover. It's a memoir about her actual life. She obviously changes the names of the people and like paraphrases and stuff just to keep their identity, you know, secret and stuff like that. But the majority of this book, 90% of it, is real life. It happened, and it is so powerful. I can see why Miss Michelle Obama chose this. So it's all centered around education. In this book, basically, there's a girl called Tara, and she lives in this family that is a Mormon family. So they're quite strict about everything, to be quite honest with you. There's nothing that they're not strict about. They don't go to the hospital because they believe medicines are bad and you shouldn't put toxins into your body. They don't go to school because they believe that education is bad because it will corrupt your mind. They have to obey their father and they can't really have their own thoughts. The girl is not allowed to wear anything above her ankles. So she ends up deciding to escape in a way, like to go and get an education, and she goes to university even though it's against her father's wishes, and he kind of disowns her for it. And the more that she's learning at school, the more she understands the world, very isolated and unaware of the world. And she decides she wants to get an education, so she decides to break free, and she goes ahead and ends up going to Cambridge, ends up being one of the smartest people. She gets a doctorate in the end and she becomes educated. It's just about her journey, basically discovering the world at the age of 17 when she finally breaks free. This book made me feel every emotion under the sun, from anger to laughter to tears. I actually cried tears. It was a lot, so you kind of need to brave yourself to really read this because it is very powerful book, and I would really put this up there. And I loved it, every single minute of it, and I would highly recommend. Hey guys, so I have now completed this book, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats, and I can understand why she recommended this. At first I was like, this is a children's book, why is this on this list? But I understand why the wonderful Miss Michelle Obama recommended this. I think it is because it's a story basically about a young boy who is, you know, sleeping. He looks out the window, it's snowing, he goes outside and he has a beautiful and fun snowy day. Now, what's important about this book and what I realized why she loves it and reads it to her children is because the young boy is black, like, and you don't really get to see a lot of black children represented in children's books. And this is a story about a young black boy just having a good time. There's no heavy meaning behind it. There's no political anything. There's no sadness. There's nothing, because normally blackness is seen as something that's always having to be representative, always having to be doing something. And actually, this is just a young boy enjoying the snow. So if you have children and you want to read them stories where they see themselves represented with nothing else, no means to an end, just a pure, beautiful story about a child, then this is a good book that I'd recommend. Now, I was pleasantly surprised. This one is called Commonwealth by Anne Patchett. I don't know how to say her name. Anne Patchett. But this book, I thought, I'm going to enjoy this one the least. But was blown away. This book had me hooked from front to back. Let me tell you something, I'm a slow reader, so I honestly thought this book would take me a week or two to read because I'm actually genuinely a slow reader. It did not take me that long. I think it took me maximum 3 days to read this, and apparently Michelle Obama has this on her nightstand and she can't put it down, and she says it's one of her favorite books of all time and she's read it a few times. I can see why that's true. Like, I honestly understand it. It's a book about this family, well, these two families that get joined together, and essentially this one man has a christening for his daughter, and then this other man randomly comes there, and they don't know each other, they're like strangers, but that book begins with them being strangers and it ends with them being family, because the man that comes to this man's house cheats with the man's wife, so he kisses the other man's wife, and that begins the turmoil of the whole story. So these two families get merged together. It's stepbrothers and stepsisters and obviously stepwives and whatever, and it turns into this magical story about life, about people's lives, and how we often don't treat the people we love with respect, and how we often take them for granted. And it is just something. And one of the reviews says that this was hugely entertaining and unsettling joy to read, and I couldn't have put it better myself. It just shows you how fickle life is, and I think Mrs. Obama, this was one of the best recommendations. The only thing I will say is that when I finished the book, I couldn't believe it was finished. Like, how is this the ending? The ending is so abrupt and so anticlimactic, if you know what I mean. Like, I thought something was going to happen, I thought something big was going to happen, but nothing major happened. It's just that a lot of deaths occurred. It ended on an anticlimactic place because it wanted to show that there shouldn't be a massive build-up for life for you to live in. But it is a really good book, would recommend. Okay guys, so I've completed this book called Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison, and it's taken me at least 3 or 4 days to actually film my thoughts and my reaction, because when I was done and I put it down, I was very confused. Like, at the beginning I was just like, okay, I understand what I've read, I loved what I've read, but I didn't understand it. So I had to take a second to flick back through the chapters, try to re-engage with the characters, and I realized that it's a book about a young man called Milkman, Macon Milkman Dead. His last name is Dead, so Milkman Dead, and it's about his journey through adulthood and kind of like coming to grips with being a man and exploring the world. But his life is just not simplistic whatsoever. Like, it's quite difficult. It's just kind of talking about navigating oppression, navigating blackness in a world that rejects it, which once again still very much relevant to right now. At first, honestly, I struggled with coming to mind with it because there's so many moving parts, so many characters, and I'm trying to give a review without giving a spoiler, but this has been named one of the best pieces of literature of our time. And when I was reading it, I was like, it's not yet, it didn't immediately kick in for me. I definitely think that this is something that grows on you, but I did enjoy what I was reading. It had a lot of life lessons in it and beautifully written, but I just took a while to get to grips with, whereas the other ones, like, I could get into them like that. This one, it took me a hot second. So I have just finished reading The Life of Pi by Jan Martel. So this book is all about the life of this young boy who explores different religions. Like, to be honest with you, this book is very much about making you question life and the beauty of life, but it's just based on this boy who gets stranded on a shipwreck, and he's now on a lifeboat stuck there with several animals, but the one that stays with him the most is this tiger called Richard Parker. And obviously tigers are dangerous, so it's all about him navigating how to coexist with something that he shouldn't be coexisting with, something that should actually eat him and harm him. And he just discusses the preservation of life, the importance of life. Overall, really phenomenal book. I'd highly recommend. I enjoyed it a lot. Sometimes it got a little bit waffly, if I have to say. Like, overall, I can see why she recommended all of these. They're very much questioning life, your place in the world, and just how different things impact you, like ethics, morals, education, that kind of thing. And I just had a blast doing this video. Honestly, I got to read a lot more than I typically do in that short space of time. Comment down below whose books you want to see me reading next, and I'll see you guys hopefully in the next video if you take this one well, and see you soon. Bye.